Once again, Steam Next Fest has delivered another slew of games to inflate their Steam wishlists and libraries with, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So this is just going to be a quick look at some indie demos that I liked. So just a quick, what I found interesting about them, the vibe of the game, nothing too in-depth. And hopefully you find some interesting indies too. So let's get into it. First up, Psychokin. Psychokin is like if you took Hotline Miami, mixed in the narrative premise of Katana Zero, then add in a dash of Metal Gear Solid just for good measure. It's Hotline Miami in that it's a top-down shooter where you die in one shot, but it throws in an interesting wrinkle into the formula by giving you two characters to control, and every time you kill someone, it swaps to the other character, and you have no control over this. It will always happen as soon as you kill an enemy. So you have two characters in different parts of the map, and the way they make this matter is that they'll do things like tying a locked door to a certain enemy, so while controlling one character, you'll have to kill that specific enemy to unlock the door so that your other guy can actually progress. If not, you lose and have to restart. Or there are these enemies that are linked together, and once you kill one, it starts the timer on a bomb, and you have to kill the second guy before the time runs up. So you have to plot out your course a lot, keeping in mind that, okay, once I kill this guy, it'll open the door for my other character so that they can go in and kill this guy that's linked to the bomb, and so I want my first guy to be in a good position to start moving once they swap back. It makes the game a lot more puzzly. It forces you to really check your map and plan out your route and not rely on just pure reflexes. And the story had this really intriguing espionage theme to it, where you're like an ex-special ops soldier from this experimental unit fighting psychics and they're recounting their past with a therapist. It had this unreliable narrator feel combined with the rough and sketchy art style that got me really invested. It looks like it's going to have this sort of trippy story that'll take me for a ride, an arcadey fun gameplay that immediately got me hooked. I feel like every Steam Next Fest there's this one demo that I look at and go, I don't know, maybe, but then I give it a shot anyways and discover a gem that immediately shoots to the top of my anticipated list. Psychokin is that this time around. And it launches soon too, with a release date of December 4th. But if you're looking for a more traditional Hotline Miami clone, then keep an eye on Jackal. It once again has that same fast-paced top-down action of Hotline Miami where you're kicking in doors, grabbing whatever is near you and chucking it at enemies' heads before running up to them and with a brutal execution while dodging bullets from shredding your fragile form. You still die very quick and the game still feels like a drug trip, but they also add in a more noir rogue detective vibe with the deep voice and likely unreliable narrator while also throwing in some Egyptian mythology just for a spice. Your character is, for some reason, being followed by Anubis, the god of the dead, who's sporting a much more fashionable wardrobe than anything I certainly have, and he also seems to provide curses to help out your main character. It contrasted really interestingly with the more grittier noir vibes, and gave the game its own unique flavor. And the relationship between Anubis and the main character felt like old partners in crime that kind of trust each other, but also know the other well enough to not trust them too much. And the brutal fast-paced combat where you and your enemies die fast and hard is an addicting a gameplay loop as ever, as you die again and again, slowly learning the map, where enemies are, where weapons are, and how best to tackle them. Jackal looks to fill that Hotline Miami hole in your heart, January 2026. Next up, Existential Dread. It's literally just you get a tank, get dropped on a post-apocalyptic world that was destroyed by AI and whose only knowledge of grass is ancient memes about touching it, and then you just go around blowing up all the buildings to regrow nature and make room for your base while defending it from rogue AI. Simple, clean, and fun as hell. It is and will always be incredibly satisfying to just clean out a map, even more so when that involves blowing up countless buildings with a tank. Base building is also always satisfying. This is where we see Existential's Dread pulling inspiration from tower defense and a little bit of RTS. You build a base with each building improving your tank or how quickly your little guys gather resources or buildings to support other bases and stuff like that. But every so often you'll be attacked by these waves of robots, so while you can't just roll up and deal with them yourself, having turrets, especially in later waves, becomes crucial to defending yourself. This not only makes dealing with enemies easier, but also frees you up to search for your goal of each level, the enemy towers, and destroy them so you can move on to the next level. But you can't just rush towards the enemy blindly. They hit hard and can quickly wipe you out, and your goal is to regrow nature. Your tank literally gets energy from touching grass. See gamers, it is good for you, gives you plus 50% fire rate, and it heals you. Foliage spreads as you clear out the map of ruined buildings. You can also get a special type of shot that helps things along a bit by spreading temporary greenery, if you want to rush ahead and plop down a little safe zone while you destroy the enemy bases. You very quickly realize that your tank kind of needs to be on the grass for it to be effective, kind of forcing you to take your time a bit and hang back a little to grow out your base, because that can get you a variety of other shot types. Every now and then the game will give you a set of random buildings. You pick one, and once your guys grab enough materials from the building you destroyed, you can build it. And all of these buildings come in a variety of shapes and sizes, and certain ones need to be connected to other buildings just to work. So while simple, it becomes like a nice little jigsaw puzzles you do between shooting, figuring out how to place all the buildings you need while making sure they're used efficiently and, more importantly, protected from the enemy waves. Every part of this game, from the top-down shooting to the environmental destruction to the base building, all feels so satisfyingly interwoven to each other. Existential Dread is one of those simple arcadey fun games that I can see myself just losing hours to, zoning out while I listen to a podcast as I enjoy demolishing a city, while the base building engages me enough to keep it from ever getting boring. It's scheduled to release Q1 2026. And keeping with the arcadey theme, we have Gunny Ascend. It takes balls to go, you know what? Let's reinvent Tetris, one of the few things in this world that was born perfect, let alone change the core gameplay loop itself. Like, we have plenty of games like Tetris Effect and Tetris 99 that have their own unique flair, but they're still Tetris at their core. But Gunny Ascend takes that formula and makes it its own. So, you're still placing Tetris blocks in order to make lines, but instead of controlling them as they fall, you play as this little guy who has to pick up the blocks, and then you can actually see what the blocks are, whether they're a Z block or an L block, with the pivot point being kind of random, and then you have to actually carry the block to wherever you want to place it, so you can build platforms so you don't fall to your doom. That's already a huge change from what we know, because now you're actually making a platformer. You gotta navigate whatever it is you build, and once things start getting hectic, having to jump over even small gaps can be a big monkey wrench into your plans, and things get hectic, because that's not all the game adds. There's also traps like bombs that you have to throw away before they either destroy your blocks or injure you. There's giant knives and ghosts that try to get you, and if you miss one of the blocks, it just turns into one singular block. Not bad, but not exactly as helpful as the alternative. So you often literally end up juggling things, grabbing the block and throwing it up to give yourself some time to run over and grab the bomb, throwing it away before running over and grabbing the block again. Another interesting change they make to the Tetris formula is that you can overlap blocks, allowing you to fill in gaps otherwise inaccessible for a score bonus, so you actually kind of want gaps. Then there's all these different characters with their own abilities, roguelite elements that give you abilities to dash or grappling hooks or flight. There's boss fights where you have to use the bombs to hurt the boss while rebuilding your dwindling platforms. You also have an inventory where you put your abilities and stuff, and that's also kind of the Tetris-like inventory we see in Resident Evil. It really makes it its own thing. Runs felt quick, with each level only requiring you to get a certain score before moving on to the next one. And it had that, just one more run feel to it with its quick arcadey gameplay. All the different characters to try out, all the different abilities and builds to make. Gunny Ascend felt like I always had a bunch of spinning plates, but never enough to be overwhelming. I always felt like I had just enough to keep everything balanced. It's a bold move to so fundamentally change a certified classic, but judging from this demo, they are succeeding. It doesn't have a release date yet, but I'm excited to see more whenever it does come out. Next up, Relooted, which is an interesting mix of a heist movie and kind of a puzzle platformer, with a focus on African culture, which we don't get to see very much of. The game has you playing as a band of thieves hellbent on liberating various African artifacts from vaults of greedy rich people. Think Robin Hood, but instead of money, it's artifacts. And that's not just set dressing. What I find truly commendable about this game is that the game wants to educate you. These are real artifacts with real history behind them our characters are going after, and the game always takes a moment to tell you a bit of the history around whatever it is you're stealing. Even once you start the mission, you can still take a bit of time to find some smaller pieces, and they'll tell you a bit about their history as you explore the map. I genuinely learned something about Haitian and Ethiopian history thanks to this game, and more importantly, it was fun. The level starts with what every good heist movie has after the crew is assembled: recon. You survey the area and plan out your route, assigning team members to certain places that will help you grapple up to areas or unlock doors, and place tables or something under doors so that you can slide under them once the security goes off. And planning out your path and assigning team members to certain places, and all this is crucial because you are stealing artifacts after all. So while the level starts with an almost chill exploratory puzzle section, where you're taking your time to prep everything, as soon as you actually grab something, alarms go off, and everything kicks into high gear and you gotta run. You gotta make sure that path allowed you to grab everything you need and get out fast. The actual running and platforming is simple. You hold right trigger to dash, and whenever your character jumps over or slides under anything, you hit X at the right time for a speed boost. It is simple, but it's also satisfying to get that boost, and it has all the fun of a good chase sequence sequence in a movie. But I also really loved planning everything out and setting everything up for your escape, because when you do that, once you pull it off and everything goes as planned, it really gives you that satisfying feeling of just everything coming together. The story felt like a very fun heist movie too. I mean, who doesn't like stealing from the rich? And the cast has that misfit found family vibe to them that just fits the premise. And everything they do has that kind of grimy criminal underworld feel to it. Like, the cast is trying to do something noble, of course, but they have to work with the criminal underworld, all while also going after very rich and powerful people. But it really was the mix of exploring these levels, carefully planning out my route, followed by the fast-paced chase sequences that grabbed me. It's a unique mix that I'm interested to see explored more in the future, and I think it's cool that the devs are teaching you something along the way. No release date for this game either, but I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it. And last but not least, Truckful is a nice, cozy game about driving your truck through the woods, occasionally stopping to help out some strangers. And then this happens. The game has a similar feeling to Night in the Woods if you've ever played that. Basically, that game was about a girl returning to a small country town after college and getting reacquainted with her friends and seeing how the town had changed. It was calm and cozy, but also had this almost sinister undercurrent, hinting at a dark, possibly cosmic horror secret that the town was hiding that you slowly uncover. Truckful has that exact same feel. You have the calm and cozy feeling of a nice, calm drive through picturesque woods as the sun beams down through the trees, but there is also this inherent fear we have that it plays on about being alone in the woods, especially as the sun goes down. But then it gives you like subtle hints that not everything is quite as it seems, like the road is a little bit dilapidated, or there's old wrecked cars on the side. It just does a great job of using that cozy vibe to lull you into a false sense of security while subtly building tension and mystery in the background. The driving felt smooth and a little arcadey. I just enjoyed calmly driving my way down the road, almost role-playing like I was actually driving. I wouldn't floor it and would actually slow to go around corners. And then there's like this little quest where you have to stack a bunch of stuff in the back of your truck to deliver it and make sure it's secure so it doesn't fall out, encouraging you to drive sensibly and keep you immersed in role-playing like an actual driver. The mystery of the forest and the chill mixed with horror vibes and fun driving definitely grabbed my attention, so I'll be keeping an eye on it when it releases in 2026. So that's what I found in the Steam Neckfest. My wishlist has been suitably inflated, and I hope you found some cool indies too. Remember to wishlist anything you liked, it helps the devs more than you think, and that's all. Hope you have a nice day. Oh, and if I missed anything, let me know in the comments down below.